1 Samuel 13. Saul was 30 years old when he...
That just scared... This is... Okay, I do this all the time, but this is an unexpected video because when I do these unexpected videos, 9 times out of 10, it's because I just got done Bible studying. So I'm gonna just let y'all know right now. So yeah, so okay, alright, I'm not gonna be, first of all, so I was just Bible studying, y'all, and right now I've been reading the book of 1 Samuel because I don't know, like recently, whether it's a sermon that I'm watching or whether I'm talking to somebody, or even if my, like, David has been being mentioned in almost every sermon that I've been watching lately, or any study I've been doing. David has been being mentioned like all the time, and I'm not gonna lie, like I never actually read like to see what entails with David. Like obviously when you hear David, like I just obviously think about David and Goliath, so I never actually took the time to actually study and read up on David. But that's not who I'm going to talk about today. I'm just saying that's the reason why I'm starting the book of 1 Samuel, because I just want to learn more about his life, because I've been hearing and seeing his name so much. I don't want to overlook that. Midway through, but like I'm in like chapter 13, and right now is basically where I'm being introduced to Saul. Basically, to give you like a little background of what I'm reading on, the Israelites have been sinning, you know, and they have been worshiping all these false idols and everything, and doing all these things. That's all these things apart from how they need to honor the one true God. You know, been put in so many circumstances before this where God has helped them out of their opposition, you know, and every time that he has brought them out, it's like they almost like resort back. Like it's almost like they're not appreciative of what he's been doing in their lives. So that's like where I'm at in the book. And basically Samuel, you know, I don't know, like the Israelites like were asking for a king, like, oh, we want a king, this and the third, da, da, da. Once again, it's them like overlooking, like they're overlooking the one very thing that they really need, aside from these idols, aside from wanting a king. Like God is the main factor of, as I'm reading, like God gives them a king out of his wrath. Like, you know, this, like he basically saying like, you know, all right, if you want a king, fine, I'm gonna give you a king. And he's not doing that because like he's agreeing with what their ideal is, that maybe a king is bigger and better than, no, he's giving them a king because at the end of the day, God knows that nobody's going to be able to do the things that they're looking for, or fill the voice that they're trying to, you know, all these things that they're trying to think like, oh, maybe if we worship these idols, maybe we da. Like he's just doing it because at the end of the day, it's just going to show that their sin is just going to reveal his glory even more, you know, in the midst of all the things that they do aside from him. I'm reading where Samuel, like he rebuked Saul. Like this is in a part in this book, like that's where we find out how Saul, you know, sinned. So Madrid, Saul is the one that got appointed king. I mean, I forgot to mention that. I go back to 1 Samuel 10 verses 8. I'm gonna read it to you.
1 Samuel 13. Saul was 30 years old when he...
That just scared... I'm connected to the speaker. But anyways, okay. So if I go back to 1 Samuel 10, 8, I'm gonna read this to you. Samuel speaking to Saul. Samuel said, after you see these things happen, you must do whatever seems right to you. God will be with you. You must go to Gilgal, and then I will come there. I will join with you there to offer burnt offerings and peace offerings to God. You must wait 7 days until I come, and when I arrive at Gilgal, I will tell you what you should do. Well, remember that Samuel mentioned in here, and he's telling Saul that he must wait 7 days until he comes back in order to offer these burnt offerings to God, right? So then I'm skipping, so I'm reading ahead. So now I'm at 1 Samuel 13 verse 8. Israel's going to war against the Philistines. So we read about that, and we basically see like the Philistines almost like outnumbering like the Israel men. Like it's a lot of Philistines that they're about to go against. So when they basically seemed like they was like outnumbered in a way, like they all started to like, you know, run, hide in caves, like just basically like just go away, like run away from the attack from the Philistines, because they just seen that how grand the army was compared to their army. So by knowing that, now we're at the point where Saul still is at Gilgal in the midst of all the other men that have been scattered away because they seeing how many of them there is. It reads that in 1 Samuel 13 verse 8, it says, Saul remained at Gilgal, and all the troops with him were quaking with fear. He waited 7 days, the set time by Samuel, but Samuel did not come to Gilgal, and Saul's men began to scatter. So he said, bring me the burnt offering and the fellowship offerings. And Saul offered up the burnt offerings. Mind y'all, back in verse 10 verses 8, Samuel literally just told Saul, like, wait 7 days for me to get back and then we can burn offerings. But here we're reading that basically since Saul saw that he physically saw his men fled because of they were looking at their circumstances, he was like, okay, well, let me just go ahead and offer up these burnt offerings. As soon as he did that, that's when Samuel arrived. So just think about it, like if he had just waited just a little bit more, like Samuel would have been right there. Samuel came back and he said, what have you done? This was Saul gonna say. When I saw that the men were scattering and that you did not come at the set time and that the Philistines were assembling, I thought that now the Philistines will come down against me, and I have not sought the Lord's favor. So I felt compelled to offer the burnt offerings. So let me tell you my way, basically what he did. Basically Saul just said to Samuel, well, you didn't come when you said you was gonna come. So what I'm supposed to sit here and do? Like wait around? My people's flying away and the Philistines is about to sit here and crush me. So I'm finna go ahead and do what he gonna do because obviously ain't nothing going right now. Everything look like it's about to go bad. I'm not finna sit here and let it fall down on me. That's basically what Saul is saying, right? So now that y'all know that, let me tell y'all what I've got. I didn't get a lot, but I'm relying on the Holy Spirit to give me any type of revelation or anything that I need to say. It's gonna come, so it's gonna come. So after reading that, y'all, I put in my notes like I titled like when trials come your way. So now I'm about to eat y'all up, because let me tell y'all what I just got from that little, you hear me? Like, I mean, Samuel told him like, I need you to do this thing, right? And I need you to wait on me. So when I get here, then we're gonna do what it is I'm telling you that we're gonna do. Right? Cool. We in there. We doing it. That's the plan, right? Just for this man to get there and do the complete opposite. He did exactly what he was told not to do. And the reason being, y'all, the reason being why he did that, why Saul so easily did what he wasn't supposed to do, is because he blamed a person and then he looked at his circumstance. Y'all, it's so many times where instead of trusting in God and instead of doing the things that, instead of sitting here and waiting on God and trusting in his time, and we try to handle things out of our perception of things or solely off of fear, off of just our circumstances. And I feel like that's what Saul did. Instead of sitting there, and because later on in the text, like God like mentions like he's gonna appoint a king that's gonna be a man after his own heart. Obviously that's David. That's who's gonna come later on in the text. But Saul, by doing so, just that, and it may seem so little, like, oh, okay, he just ain't wait for him. All he did was just, no, it's that little thing is a big thing. Instead of Saul sitting there looking at his circumstances, and if he was a man after God's own heart, he would have sat there and waited because he know the God that he serves. You get what I'm saying? And regardless of if Samuel would have came on the 10th day, it don't matter. Samuel would have came on the 10th day, or if he would have came a day earlier, it don't matter. If Saul had trusted and knew who was in control of this whole circumstance, which is God, obviously, he would have been cool. But because he sat there and looked around, first of all, it's nothing. He saw that everybody else was in fear or everybody else was trembling. And since he's looking at that and he's allowing his circumstances to determine his actions, he lost it just like that. And that's something that we tend to do. And I'm saying we, but myself, it's been plenty of times in my life where I have, I'm looking at everything else. And I was looking at everything, y'all, and I wasn't going with what I knew. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's so many times where instead of going after what you know truthfully, knowing who your God is, knowing what he says about whatever circumstance that you're in, you look at what's in front of you. It's easy for us to sit here and look at our circumstances and allow that to, okay, I got it. I remember my pastor vividly saying, like, don't allow your seasons to frame your confessions. Meaning, in the midst of what you're going through, in the midst of what you are in right now, or in the midst of what you went through before, that should never be a confession of why you do things the way you do, just because of what's going on right now, or just because of what you've been through. Plenty of times where I've done that same thing. Like, it's been so many times, y'all, where I will be going into something. Prime example, just recently at Big Tens, y'all, I was so driven, and I just knew in my 100-meter dash that I was going to do anything under an 11.5, because that's what I just ran. I ran 11.51, that's my PR. But I just knew that I was going to go under that and qualify for regionals, because I was 2 spots away and I was so close to getting it. So, and I said I had so much high hopes. I put my faith in God. Like, I knew he did it for me before. He can do it for me again in a different circumstance, and I know he can do it in this circumstance right now. Like, I was so like stronghold on this thought that, you know what, I'm about to blow this 100 out the water. I've been doing everything I need to do. I've been running more relaxed now. Like, I just was marking off everything. Like, I had a checklist. I did this, I did this, I did. I'm good to go. Just for it to not go like that, y'all. Just for me to not run a PR. Just for me not to run anything under 11.5. Just for me not to qualify to regionals. When I had my mindset on all these things, and just for it to go the opposite, I was literally out of whack. But I was only like, I literally was out in that state of mind for 10 minutes, you know. So this is not really the best example because I got it together right after, but it still applies to what I'm getting at. I was out of whack for 10 minutes. Mind y'all, when I tell y'all, it wasn't just the day before that I was in that mindset. No, the week before that I was thinking like that, moving like that, praying like that. Like, I had that God confidence on me that a whole week before the competition. So I just knew that I had it underneath my belt. But just for me not to do it, it was so easy for my mind to lose focus of the truth. And I was looking at my circumstances, and I literally said, what did I say? The words that came out of my mouth, and I told my dad, I told him, like, what am I not doing? Like, and I was just going from feeling qualified to speaking disqualified, and that wasn't the truth, you know. So that's why I'm comparing this to Saul. Like, Saul looked at his circumstance and he allowed that to frame his action or his confession. I looked at my circumstance and my race, and I allowed that to frame my confession of, oh, I must not be doing enough. No, it's not that I'm not doing enough. It wasn't on my timing. And that's why, see why God says, like, many are the plans in a man's heart, but it's the Lord's purpose that prevails. He wouldn't say that for no reason, because for that reason, I had. Now, also, don't take that verse out of context. It's great to have set goals up ahead of yourself. It's great to have, you know, these plans that I. Only if they're aligned with God. It's one thing if you set all these goals for yourself, but you don't converse them with him. You get what I'm saying? And you're not putting God in the midst of your doings. Then that's completely different. But God not saying that we can't have goals. He's not saying that we can't make these plans, you know, because it's a relationship. God didn't just say, oh, just rely on me and kick your feet up and do nothing. He said, yes, rely on me, but also as I'm relying on him, we have to do these things as well. You get what I'm saying? Like, just planting the seed, because you can plant a seed. Because when you plant a seed in the ground, you just don't plant it and it's going to grow on its own. No, when you plant it, you got to keep nourishing it. You got to feed it. You got to water it, you know, make sure it's got sunlight. You got to have all these things that's going to contribute to its growth. And that's how we are with God, you know. So I'm not going to sit here and bash Saul and make it seem like, oh, he made a stupid decision over something so simple. All he had to do was wait 7 days. Just because he didn't see him come up on the time that he said he was going to come, and because he saw that his men was fleeing, he decided to do another thing. Because I did that. When I literally had set in my mind that I was going to do this, that, and the third, and I had everything that I needed. I was moving in a way that I needed to move. I know God was beside me like he always is. I just knew it. But it just took for that one thing to not go my way, or for me to do something differently out of the way that I wanted to. And I allowed that to frame my confession, you know. So that goes with trials, like stuff coming our way. Everything that we do, it should be in accordance to God and his word. Saul, I think because he did that simple thing, he did that out of his way. And there's so many times where we do that because we don't know the answers yet, because it may not look like it, but it may not look like it to a visible eye, but to God is already figured out. But we don't know that, obviously, because we can't see the things that he sees. We don't know the things that he knows, and our thoughts are not his thoughts, you know. All those things that I just mentioned, like, it's so easy for us to do things the way that we want to do, or approach things the way that we think they should be approached, or perceive things the way that we perceive these things, when we not right all the time. I'm not saying that there's not situations that we can take a leap of faith and do things out of our way Yes, it's times we've done that, you know, especially if it glorifies God. But it's different from doing things. It's different from doing things out of a leap of faith and it be glorifying God and doing something. He not moving as quickly as you want him to move. So now you just go take things into your own hands. Like, you can't do that just because you may not see it right. Oh, yeah, I just ate that up. Now I'm about to pull up that Bible verse because you don't understand now what I'm doing, but it will be clear enough to you later. Saul didn't understand when he saw that Samuel ain't come up. The first thing his mind went to, I'm about to read what Saul said. When I saw that the men were scattering and that you did not come at the set time and that the Philistines were assembling, he thought that now the Philistines will come down against me and I have not sought the Lord's favor. He literally said 3 different things. One, he said, when I saw that my men were scattering, he's looking at his circumstance. 2, he said, I thought now the Philistines will come down against me. Okay, now this is just something within himself, you know, his own perception of things. And the third thing, he told Samuel, like, you didn't come. He's blaming another factor, like he's blaming another person for his decision. And those are 3 common things that we do. We blame the circumstance, or if it's a situation with another person, we blame that person before we blame ourselves for our own decisions. And 3, we overlook the truth. He said, oh, well, I will assume. Basically Saul just said, like, well, I thought the Philistines was about to come down against me. If they come down against me, that's how I know that God's favor is not on me. That's not true at all. And I feel like we do that simply by him saying that now the Philistines will come against me. I have not sought the Lord's favor. That's something that we all do. When we go through things, or when things is going against us, or whether people that was once for us are now going against us, or opportunities are not flowing as you have thought they should have, we are so quick to think that God is not on us. Even if it's not circumstantial, let's think about stuff that you actually do. Sin, like when you've sinned or you've made these mistakes, it's so easy for us to sit here and be like, to think that God is done with us. But that's not the truth, because if you go to 1 Samuel 12 verses 22, Samuel was telling the Israelites that he said like, for the sake of his great name, he would not reject his people, because he was pleased to make you as his own. And that goes with what I'm talking about with sin. Like, they're asking Samuel to pray to God on their behalf of all their wrongdoings, and Samuel's basically telling them, like, you know, in the midst of your wrongdoings, or in the midst of the sins or mistakes that you have made, God's favor is not going to leave you, because he was pleased to make you his own. Why would he sit here and forsake something that he took the time to create and call good and blessed by himself? God didn't sit here and ask nobody else if this is good enough, or do you think this is... No, God did everything. He commissioned everything the way that he wanted things to go. So he's not going to sit here and forsake you or let you go because of a sin, or because of your circumstances, or because of any type of opposition. Because at the end of the day, there is nothing that you may go through, there's nothing that you do yourself that is bigger than God, because you serve a big God. I just encourage anybody, like, I'm not saying that the stuff that you go through, I'm not saying that your circumstances are fake, and I'm not saying that they're not realistic. No, they are very much real. But what I am saying, don't allow that to determine where you're going to be at, or what is it going to do to you. You can't do that, because you have to look at the bigger frame of things. Like, okay, I know this is going on, so how is God utilizing me to... how is God using this situation to frame me as a person? Like, go into it with that type of mindset, you know. All right, well, I know things not working out for me in this way, so maybe God, so I know that God, if things not going for me in this way, I know God's gonna supply in another way. Like, when you start to change your mind in that way, you will be more at peace with things, you know. And it's not, I'm not gonna lie, it's not easy. First of all, it's not easy at all to sit here and easily switch your mindset in the midst of things not turn out how you figured they were supposed to be. It's not easy, but it's not like it can't be done, because it can be done. So I ain't gonna make this really long, because it was just quick, but that's just something that was on my mind that I feel like I need to share to anybody that may need to hear. Like, don't be like Saul, and because things didn't turn out how you thought it was going to be, you make decisions because out of fear, or you make decisions because of what your circumstances are saying, or because of what you just think should be right. No, check in with God first. Check in with what he wants to do. And you're not going to get an audible response, but you're not gonna get a obviously he's not gonna audibly reply to you, but what you can do, you can always go back to the source, his word. People be so quick to say like, well, how do I know is God speaking to me? Or you have to know his voice. And like for example, he thought Eli was calling him, but it was really God. But he didn't know that because he didn't know God's voice first. So know God's voice by spending more time in his word. And the more you spend in his word, you will know him. You will know how God works, how his perception of things is, and how he handles things. And the more you spend more time in his word, you will start seeing things and how he wants you to view things. You get what I'm saying? So that's all. I ain't gonna make this video really long, but I do pray that anybody who may need to hear this, or if you're going through something and this is something that you need, I just pray that it does reach you. And yeah, so that's all I want to talk about, and I'm gonna see y'all in the next video.